Ladies and gentlemen, we have another hero shooter that's been announced and unveiled in 2024. Surprise to nobody, because it seems like this year is the year where all the developers and publishers are jumping at the teeth to have a chance to compete for this very, very competitive piece of pie. It seems like developers have found the cheat code, the infinite money glitch. Make a hero shooter and instant success, right? Nope. Wrong, as we saw from Concord in their previous open beta that they hosted less than a month ago, with an all-time concurrent peak player count of 2,300 players. And keep in mind, this is a free open beta. It's kind of funny that I had more subs than they had players during this open beta for a game that they spent millions and millions of dollars on. Splitgate 2 this time around thinks that they have the chops and what it takes to compete to be a contender in this. So I think it's only fair that we give Splitgate the same treatment that we gave Concord a couple weeks ago. But spoiler alert, it's kind of good and they might actually pull it off. See, Splitgate 2 is the loyal successor to the original Splitgate that came out years ago now, which was an instant overnight success, a mix-up between Halo and Portal. Chances are that if you're watching this video, you probably already know what it was because of how popular it was at the time, except it didn't really stick. There are two primary reasons why I feel like the original Splitgate wasn't as sticky, and that has to do with the inherent gameplay mechanics that it has. The portals mixed with the jetpack not only offered a unique playstyle to the game that we really haven't seen anywhere else, but they also set the bar extremely high, to the point where if you put a casual player that was just average at the game and put him up against a seasoned veteran who had mastered this unique gameplay mechanic, he would get absolutely blown out of the water. The inherent gameplay mechanic is familiar to new players and easy to pick up and learn, but has an insane skill ceiling that once you master, you are able to basically just skill check and skill diff almost anywhere. Very similar to Fortnite's building mechanic. If I went back and played Fortnite now, years after I have played Fortnite build mode, even though I was pretty decent back then, I would get absolutely destroyed by even the most average player. This makes it very hard to draw in new players as the lifespan of the game continues. The second reason why I felt the game wasn't as sticky, besides the lacking sound design that I felt was just really empty, especially when you're in the main menu, was that there was pretty much no competitive environment. Sure, there was a ranked game mode, but it felt kind of how the finals feels, where they just slapped on a ranked badge in front of a regular playlist and called it a day. There was really no reason to grind. All of this adds up to why I think that, unlike Concord, Splitgate 2 will actually do pretty well, despite being a team-based tactical hero shooter, just like every other game is in 2024. I feel, in my opinion, Splitgate 2 and the developers, the company behind this game, seems to have a better understanding of the current gaming environment and know what it takes to make a game in this very competitive hero shooter genre. If you remember from my previous video where I covered Concord's horrendous beta test, I pointed out two main reasons why I felt the game just did as bad as it did. If you want to check it out, hopefully if I don't forget, it'll be right here on the top right. But those two reasons were because they failed to differentiate themselves from the other plethora of hero shooters out on the market currently that players are heavily invested in, have spent a lot of time and money into, and B, it was a huge marketing flop. The very first impression that everyone had on this game was a very well put together, highly edited and polished, and it looked like they spent millions of dollars on a cinematic trailer that had everyone thinking that it was some kind of adventure single-player campaign game. 1047 Games, which is the company behind Splitgate 2, seems to attack these concerns and many others straight off the bat, right in the very first frame of their official gameplay reveal footage. They had a no BS approach to this whole situation. What seems to be like a makeshift esports arena that they put together behind closed doors for streamers to try out and playtest the game. Hell, even the very first frame of the game is a competitive game mode that the streamers are playing up against each other. They're making it very clear how they want their game to be played, how they want it to be perceived, and the concern that they're attacking head-on from the original Splitgate, where there's pretty much no competitive environment. In fact, everything from the way that this video was filmed, the way it was edited, and even who they chose to put in the video shows you that they know exactly what they're trying to do, and they are taking competitive gameplay at the very forefront of the game, unlike what the finals did, where they just made a fun game and then kind of just like slapped rank on top of it later. You've already seen a lot of the different abilities that they've been kind of showcasing in the video that's been playing in the background, a lot of the different factions that they have. It seems that they have three main different factions. You got the classic trio, Arios, which is the offense, Sabrask, I think it is, the defense, and then Meredith, which is basically the support. If you think of it like Overwatch, one's the entry fragger like Jet, one's the tank like Reinhardt, the other is obviously Pocket Mercy. You have to have a Pocket Mercy in any kind of hero shooter. And then there are different abilities like the classic wall that deflects bullets. You have the stim beacon, which makes you go faster and you can slide further. And then you have this one, which kind of brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about. As much as I've been speaking highly of this game and think that it has what it takes to be actually successful, considering the way they're attacking this whole situation, they know what they're doing, but you have an ability which essentially gives you wall hacks. And as we've seen from many games in the past, like even the finals most recently, wall hacks in a game like this, especially in ongoing wall hacks when it's not kind of a ping like you have in Apex Legends or Sova from Valorant, it really doesn't end well. We've seen this over time and time again, leading me to the next section that I have, which is the concerns of the game. Now, it is very, very early of a game. This is the closed alpha. It's not even open alpha. It's nothing. The footage, we have like less than 10 minutes of footage to look at, so it's wrong to take any of this footage and just like say, hey, this is why it's gonna fail, or hey, this is, if they don't change this, it's not gonna work. It's wrong to do that. Regardless, there are some concerns with just the footage that they presented us. One being obviously the very, very, I guess you can call it aggressive abilities. The wall hacks that I've pointed out, the shield that blocks bullets, but your team can shoot through it. That's, I don't like that idea at all. I know it's very common in games like Overwatch and hero shooters alike. I still don't like that idea. But talking about each individual ability is not the point of this conversation, because it is an early alpha. A lot can change from here on out, but there is some good that can come from this, because if you remember from what I said early on in the video, one of the main concerns with the original Splitgate and why it kind of fizzled out later on is because it's hard to attract new players when you have such a high skill ceiling and a skill gap in the game. You would think that adding all these abilities would make that even wilder and crazier, except I feel it'll do the exact opposite, because for the people who are not as versed in the portal mechanics and the portal usage, they now have other options that they can use and choose to fight and skill gap those higher tier players now. With all that being said, I feel like Splitgate 2 is doing all the right things to differentiate themselves from what is currently out on the market, but only time will tell. If you're interested in seeing more, they are doing a live event August 14th. They're going to be showcasing some more gameplay footage of Splitgate 2. You can go ahead and check them out. I'll leave a link down below, and while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe and like. I'll see you next time.